What's going on, guys? It's Snoop603, and joining me today is Fake Thriller. Say hello.
Hi.
We also have two of our regular guests. We have Veggie530
What's up?
and Why Not the Tiger,
What's up, guys?
Mr. Tony himself.
Is
Today we're kind of doing a roundtable, and we're going to discuss Call of Duty, specifically kind of where it all started and where it ended. We're going to go through the progressions for almost all of us. It all started with Call of Duty 4. It's really where gaming kind of retook over my life after I got out of college and everything, and realized I had more free time in my hands than I knew what to do with. So we're just kind of go through like what happened. It started out so good, and just look at Modern Warfare 3. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
That's the name of the era, the what the fuck era.
that's such a great way to put that too.
Yeah. So, all right, starting with Call of Duty 4. We'll let Fake Thriller jump off. Like, where did it all begin? Like, how awesome was it when it started there?
It's pretty awesome. You want me to tell you how I got into it?
Sure.
I came over to your house, and you're like, I just got this PS3 from my friend, and I got this game called Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and it's awesome because you run around and shoot each other. It's like real life, like military stuff, and they have this awesome perk called Last Stand. So if you're dead,
Oh shit! I remember this.
if you think you're dead, but nope, you just fall to the ground, you pull out your pistol, and you still get one chance to kill the guy. And I'm like, that's awesome. And then we messed around on Crossfire, I think playing like split screen, and you were like messing around with me and like kicking the shit out of me and stuff like that. And then after that, it just got stuck in my brain, and eventually I convinced the wife to let me buy a PS3
And a TV.
and a TV and the game, and we got that shit going. We got our ghetto Bluetooth mics and started coordinating some probably pretty embarrassing gameplay.
Oh, absolutely. I think it
You
took
want to
a
talk about
year for me.
embarrassing gameplay? When I first played Call of Duty 4 online, it was on, damn, I wish it, Pipeline. It was my first map I ever played on. I picked the assault class with the noob tube. I ran and found the nearest corner, got the noob tube out, and just was aiming at the nearest corner, waiting for somebody to walk around. Somebody walked around the corner. I noob tubed them. They didn't die. They shot me in the face. Thus was the beginning of my Call of Duty career.
You're like, I love
And
this.
that's exactly what I thought. I was like, this is so
my-
awesome.
Oh my god!
That's
All right,
but
Tony, what
I
do you got?
actually before
Oh,
we go on with that, like I actually started though in the original PC Call of Duty, which is why I was always a little more taken to World at War than I was Call of Duty 4, but we'll get to that.
Yeah,
Eventually.
actually, that's a pretty good segue into what I was gonna say. I actually started Call of Duty on the PC. I played Call of Duty 2 on the PC a lot. I put in way more hours on that damn game than I probably should have. And because of my PC gaming, I didn't actually pick up a PlayStation 3 until like 3 years ago. So I didn't play Call of Duty 4. The most I ever played was on my brother's Xbox, and that was just private matches between him and I. And didn't play World at War online, played co-op. So really, Modern Warfare 2 that was when I bought my PS3. So I was a Christmas noob essentially, because I should say Black Friday noob, because that's when I finally picked it up for the PS3 and with my PS3. So that's when I started my Call of Duty console gaming experience.
That's interesting. So you went from Call of Duty 2, which was really actually a good game. It was just really simple. It was like a bare
It
bones mode of
was.
Call of Duty 4.
I
And
I
the thing
think
with
it's the
Call of
best
Duty
Call of
4,
Duty.
I don't really know if there is a best one, really. I mean, I don't know. I'm partial to Black Ops, but I'm sure Sean and Chris can, like, nostalgia factor on Call of Duty
Yeah,
4.
that's true.
Like, I can think back on that game and think about how much fun it was and how much fun I had playing it. But I can go play it now and go, wow, I just got killed by 3x frags. And martyrdom. There's Last Stand. God damn that
Exactly.
M16. Why is that
Yeah, but
M40 ACOG glitched?
the weird thing about Call of Duty 4 though is like even when we go back and play it now, or at least I'll just speak for myself. For as annoying as those perks are, I have no problem putting Juggernaut on. I have no problem putting on 3 times frags.
Yeah, me
And
too.
the second I spawn, launching 2 of those frags somewhere like randomly across the map.
Zeus grenade.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know what it is about that. Like, why is that okay?
I, I think the thing is well, now that we've gotten kind of the intro, like how we all got into Call of Duty to begin with, we can really dissect Call of Duty 4, like what was good, what was bad about it, and why it just started this whole thing with us. Why I'm assuming it was kind of like the brainchild for why we all got into our channels. Like I know that's certainly what happened with Chris and myself.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but that's the thing that I feel separates Call of Duty Modern Warfare, like Call of Duty 4, from Modern Warfare 2 or Black Ops, because I really don't know anything about World at War to compare it. But I think Black Ops is pretty much the same. I know it's a totally different company, but it's basically the same as the Modern Warfare series. The issues that you guys all just mentioned, the M16, I forget, I'm sorry, the sniper rifle with the ACOG scope that is
The
like super.
M40.
M40.
Thank you, but super
Yeah.
easy mode.
One
Um,
shot kill to the foot.
right, 3 times frags, like yeah, they got annoying, but they weren't game breaking. Game breaking was the one man army Danger Close to Modern Warfare 2. I'm not going to get into that yet because we're not to that game yet. But you know what I mean? Like, it was annoying, but it wasn't so bad that you couldn't deal with it.
But
I
did we know enough to not deal with it? I think is the question.
No, it's total hindsight at this point. At the time,
Right.
it felt game breaking. But now when you really look back and think about it, there's no denying the fact we had fucking good back then. Like 3 times frags the worst we had to deal with.
Oh,
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know about that though. Like if I know it's hard to imagine, but if Call of Duty 4 were to come out right now as the next sequel or the next Modern Warfare game, and it only contained the limited number of guns, it only had most of the features then, and it had those issues in it, like 3 times frags that could be abused, and the sniper glitch, one hit kill, and all that crap. I don't think we would accept it. I think we were blissfully ignorant about what we wanted out of a game.
Part of that problem, I think, is that not only did Call of Duty was so different, especially when Call of Duty 4 hit, because Call of Duty 2 wasn't all that different from previous shooters. I mean, like SOCOM and stuff like that. Call of Duty 4 was really different in how fast paced it was, how kind of pinpoint everything was. Connection played a big factor, but it changed the community, and I don't think the community was as obnoxious as maybe when MW2 came out and then MW3 and all that. I think it kind of went downhill because once people started finding the most obnoxious things to use, and Call of Duty 4 was 3x frags and martyrdom, but that wasn't nearly as obnoxious as what you could go and do in the subsequent games. So I think the community got worse. So I don't know. I don't think it was just what was in the game so much as the way the community played it. Because when I did play Call of Duty 4 a lot, I mean, even though 3x frags came up a lot, it wasn't nearly as rampant as the other problems that the other games had.
well, my take on it is now I played Call of Duty 4. I went backwards. I played Modern Warfare 2 for a while, and then I bought Call of Duty 4, and then I played that until there was a bunch of hackers. And what I think, looking back in retrospect, I think what it is, it's not the community that's messed up. It's the ability to gripe about it. Because if you play, if you were playing Call of Duty 4 at the time, YouTube was brand new, so there wasn't this community with like respect to YouTube to bitch about what's going on. So there was no platform for people to gripe about what they do and don't like about a video game. Because if you played with your friends, you could gripe to them like, that's crap, that's crap. So it might seem small, but now that there's hundreds of thousands of people bitching about the same thing, suddenly now I think we see it as a bigger problem, not just like that isolated incident. So
Well, and there was people bitching back then, but the difference is like what you're saying is YouTube has grown with the bitching,
yeah, and
and
so now
Exponentially.
yeah, well,
well,
but now we as video game players and consumers, we have a voice and we have a way to reach the developers. And so now, but then you start people coming around and you find out there are these sort of and you kind of already knew this. I mean, I knew this when I was playing Call of Duty 2, and I knew this when I was playing, any game. There's these unwritten rules that we all seem to want to go by. it's kind of commonly known. You know, we all know that grenade launchers are kind of a bitchy thing to use, but some people use them. But now with a medium like YouTube, you could have a million people out there bitching about the same thing, and it gives us a voice for to talk to the developers. So I
Well,
think,
and you can be shown how things are broken with
or
YouTube.
yeah, there could be the exploits, or sorry, you could have the exploits, or people can, I don't know, use that like Woody. He claims to go out and, oh, I'm gonna show Infinity Ward the problems, and maybe they'll see my video and they'll fix it. Kind of a mentality, which,
Nope.
yeah, nope.
Yeah, ask Wings of Redemption how well that worked out with Modern Warfare 2. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, can you guys fix this? And everyone's like,
There's one
better idea, better
106
idea.
and 2.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing you kind of have to remember is that the community got exponentially bigger because Call of Duty 4 didn't sell 15 million copies in its first couple of months or whatever it is that MW3 did. And the community is just completely massive. And part of that is because now with this next generation of consoles too, you know, kids, I mean, when I was 11 and 12, the PlayStation and Nintendo 64 were out and not a lot of kids had them. Now it seems like everybody has one. It doesn't matter how old you are. You could be 8, 9, 10. Everybody's got a gaming console. You could be 30 or 40 or even a little older probably.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean the community is so much bigger, and I think that people like us that may think, one man army danger close or 3x frags like Call of Duty 4 for cheap and stuff like that. Most people don't think that way. They actually just want to go on for a weekend or for a couple hours a week or whatever, and whatever's the easiest to use or whatever's the most obnoxious, they'll just use it because it's a little bit easier to use. And
Well, yeah.
I think that's always been that way, but the bigger the community get, I think that section of the community gets exponentially bigger than the rest of us.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't grow directly in relation to the size. Like,
Yeah, it's not proportionate.
yeah, it loses, like the hardcore crowd gets proportionately smaller as the overall fan base gets bigger.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And um and that's what I was trying to say before about like Call of Duty 4. We all dealt with those like 3 times frag problems, but it's because we didn't even know at that point. Like, I don't think we were smart enough as a fan base to really have names like 3 times frags as a noob web, and what you're saying about people just get killed by a grenade launcher or something like that. The weekend warriors don't even realize it. They go, ah, shoot, I got killed by a grenade.
Yeah, they don't.
Like,
The term noob probably isn't even in their vocabulary or,
Right.
yeah,
or
and
anything like
if
that.
they get killed by a Zeus grenade, they don't, curse the heavens and say "F you 3 times frag." Like, why is this in the game? They don't bitch about it. They just go, "Wow, I just got destroyed by a grenade," and then they move on and keep playing.
Yep.
That's
Well,
And
true.
that's the
I think a lot of it, and I don't want to stray too far away from talking about Call of Duty 4, but I think a lot of it has to do with a mature audience, because all four of us, we gripe about these game breaking things because we want to get our money's worth out of the game. You know, we spend $60 on it, and we want to make sure that there's a level of satisfaction with that game. And when we don't get it, we feel as if we've somehow been robbed of our $60. It's not what our expectations were. So I think for a more mature audience, because you're buying the game with your own money, there's a greater expectation for overall satisfaction, as opposed to like a 13-year-old, who is given the game for birthday, Christmas, or what have you, and they go on and they might not like it, but they'll still play it because, damn it, it was free.
right.
Yep, that's a very, very good point.
Yeah, and the other thing about Call of Duty 4 is I think anytime you get introduced to something new, I think it's always going to hold something where you can have more fun with it. You know what I mean? Than even further down the line. I just feel like that nostalgia factor is always going to cloud my judgment on COD 4 a little bit. Even though I've always thought that COD 4 had a lot of broken elements, it's still right up there near, like, with me, it's between that and Black Ops is my favorite Call of Duties.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, it had things that were irritating in it, including Sonic Boom, which was like danger close, but
Well,
Really? See,
see,
I mean, I don't know if I'm as much of a like I don't have a solid memory of being mad about getting killed by a sonic boom grenade.
Well, you know what? I forgot to mention too. I only played hardcore almost exclusively on Call of Duty 4 when it was new.
Wow.
So that made a big difference in what I saw from the community. Because even when people used noob tubes and it was annoying, it wasn't nearly as rampant. You know what I mean? And 3x frags and all of that. Because that was a way campier game mode and you didn't see a lot of the obnoxiousness as much.
What I think what you're saying about nostalgia and sort of the, if this is your first game, what I was thinking about is when it's your first game, you don't really have a frame of reference. So you sort of accept the bad because you don't have any sort of prior experience. All of us are now Call of Duty, I don't want to say veterans, but we've all at least bought 3 versions of Call of Duty.
I'm a
So
veteran, damn it.
you're a veteran. And so we already know I don't want to say we're jaded, but we already have a low level of expertise with the franchise, and we know exactly where it's come and where it's gone, and we can see that there's a middle ground that we wish that the game and developers would find, but maybe they just need to come out with like veteran gamer editions. Here, play on these servers only.
Well, and I think we can't stress enough about Call of Duty 4 is that it was brand new. Even
Right,
Call of
there's
Duty 2 did not play like Call of Duty 4. And the biggest game at that time was Halo. And maybe previously, like the kind of the big thing for the PlayStation, especially PlayStation 2, was SOCOM. Nothing like Call of Duty 4 had been out before.
Would you mean like
right.
the customizable classes and stuff like that? And kill streaks?
The perks, the kill streaks, the just the
Yeah.
way the game felt, and
Because you could
everything.
run, you could actually sprint because you
And
couldn't
knife.
before. And knife, yeah. Well,
It,
that thing was bad, but I missed the 2-hit melees, with the butt of your rifle to kill someone instead of a
but it was
slashing knife.
totally different. So
Yeah,
I
you're
think
right.
it was like, trying like a illicit drug for the first time or something. I don't know. Like you went and played Call of Duty and were like, oh my God, I have to play this for 18 more hours because nothing felt like it before.
All right. Well, with all that being said, like I agree, they're all really, really good points. But then okay, so the progression from COD 4, do we want to talk about World at War or just roll right into the sequel, Modern Warfare 2, and what our
I
expectations
gotta
We
hit
should
were?
go
And
in line
I gotta
chronologically
I
speaking.
gotta hit World at War, not as much as COD 4 probably, but a little bit, just because the thing about World at War that was interesting is that Call of Duty 4 was so different. It was modern. It wasn't, Call of Duty previously was only a World War II shooter, and it was just also brand new. And then when World at War came out, it felt a little more like COD 2, but it's still, I mean, it was basically COD 4 with a World War II skin package.
Exactly.
And I really enjoyed it because I really liked World War II, and that's like my favorite part of history. The game was pretty much that. The thing with
Well,
World of
let me
War
just
is
say
that
that
it
I
didn't
think
have that
that's
noob
what
feeling.
I think that's what I know it directly influenced my decision to not get the game was the fact that it went back to World War II.
Mine as well.
Exactly. It didn't have that new. Call of Duty
Yeah,
4 brought that new feeling, even though, I mean, essentially World at War was almost the exact same feeling type of a game, but it didn't feel new. And that's when Call of Duty 4 got so popular and World War came out, the MP40 with Juggernaut and drum magazines, which was I think a one-shot kill to the head and a two-shot anywhere else, and you could run steady aim. You didn't need stopping power. Once that gun came out and the community got so much larger from COD 4, you really saw people. I mean, that's the
mhm.
only gun that anybody used. And that's when you really started to see people abuse whatever was the most powerful or the most unbalanced. Was when World of War came out because I mean, that was the only gun you saw. It's the only
I
gun
can't
you
believe
would
we
die
never
by.
went. I can't believe we never went back and played it. Like I consider myself a Call of Duty expert, but I have like my gap of knowledge concerning World at War is 100% complete. I have no information
You've
other than MP40
you've
Jug.
never played it?
See, I don't even have
The
that.
only thing I've played was the downloadable demo on PSN,
Where
which
Really?
is
everybody was hiding under the map.
no, it was campaign.
Oh, the
Yeah.
campaign demo.
That's
Okay.
all I played.
I don't want to get like too deep into the whole historical significance of it, but um, You know what? I think a big part of the reason why a lot of people don't seem to like World at War is because it's about the Pacific War. I don't know what it is about the Pacific War, but it's just not very popular.
Yeah, I can get
It's
on
not
board
as
with that. Yeah.
romantic as the European War, fighting against Hitler and Western Europe, and it's kind of sad. But I'm not going to get on my
Mhm.
historical soapbox here. But I liked World at War. I never played it online because I bought it. I think I bought it for PS2 of all things. Um,
Oh God.
yeah, but
I
I
Oh
never
yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah, I never played it online. But I mean, I loved the game. I like Veggie, like you said. It was pretty much a Call of Duty 4 skin package. And when I saw that you could put sights on World War II weapons, I was actually disgusted because up until that point, Activision, well, I shouldn't say Activision, Infinity Ward, when they put out Call of Duty games in the first place, they stressed historical accuracy. And then when Treyarch put out this whole thing about sights and stuff, I was just really turned off by the franchise because, it's like, come on, a red dot sight, on an MP40 or an M1, that didn't
Well,
exist in the 40s. And
well, even
I understand the rationale for it because,
yeah.
they want to make it easier. But the thing is, though, is that for me was the challenge of playing games like Call of Duty 2 back in the day. Because you know what? The sights might suck. You might have to try a little harder, but damn it, if you could kill someone with an M1, you're a good shot. You didn't. There were times where when you'd have to type messages on your PC when you wanted to talk shit to somebody. I used to kill people with my M1, and they might have a scope. And I'm like, I don't need a scope. What are you
Mhm.
punk?
Well,
So that sort of stuff really turned me off about World of War, and that's probably why I never really bothered to pick it up, after the fact.
I think that was probably the biggest hurdle for them to jump is they had to somehow make World War II interesting again and
Yeah,
add stuff like, especially for multiplayer, because especially on the PC, but they had done Call of Duty United Offensive, Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 3, Medal of Honor.
They did two Call of Duty twos. Or no, what was it the
Yeah,
Big
and
Red
Call of
One?
Duty Big Red 1.
Yeah,
And then Medal of EA was doing Medal of Honor, and they had several World War II games for Medal of Honor
yeah,
on the PC and on the console. World War II had been played so damn much that
yeah.
when that game came out at a terrible time, if it came out before Call of Duty 4 and then Call of Duty 4 came out, that would have felt like a natural progression.
Well,
But because of that, I think World at War kind of felt like a step backwards.
if you think about Treyarch's position though, like, because back when it was coming out, I wasn't aware that they were two companies like
Yeah.
flip-flopping years. And if I have the story right, Treyarch was brought on to make Call of Duty 3, and I think they had to
Yeah.
do it in like 9 months. I don't think they had a full year to develop and release the game.
Wasn't that bad of a
So,
game, by the way.
No, it wasn't.
so
It really wasn't.
I liked Call of Duty
well,
3, but
if you look at it from their point of view, they clearly, I'm pretty sure they don't have a working relationship with Infinity Ward. Um, so they don't know Infinity Ward's going like full modern. They release Call of Duty 3, and then they know that they're being rehired to make another Call of Duty with a 2 year development time. So they probably just get right back to it
mhm.
and start working with the same subject matter and say, let's make the game we think we really can
Let's
make.
make the best World War II shooter ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like we didn't even have a chance. We just had 9 months to work on Call of Duty 3, so let's go back and let's just start working on it. And then a year later, they're like, "Fuck!" like,
Well,
like Modern Warfare comes out, and they're like, "Well,
well,
That is
I
World
true
War
too.
Two."
I don't know about you guys. I think that now, and we can't really say that back at that time frame because of Call of Duty 4, but I think that Treyarch is still one of the more innovative. It's more innovative than Infinity Ward now. But what I was to say at the time, they did something that no other company had done, from one of my knowledge, is they hired a big time celebrity to voice a video game character. And I
Yeah.
Kiefer
don't know.
Sutherland.
Yeah,
Keep
exactly.
Jack
motherfucking
Bauer.
Jack Bauer. They got Jack Bauer to be the main character. And I don't know like when Mass Effect came out because I know that's got at least what Seth Green in it. So he's a big time celebrity.
Boo.
Boo. I know.
It's
But
not
the
as good
thing
as Jack Bauer.
It's true. It's not as good as Jack Bauer, but that, and then of course there's the game mode War, which is from what I understood, was a very popular game mode to play online.
Really
That
fun game
disappeared.
mode. Really, really fun game mode. And I won't harp on World of War too much more, but just conclusively, I think that as in terms of being a good game, it was definitely a step forward. And it was the best World War II shooter they've ever made on any PC, console, anything. They did a really good job with the campaign and the multiplayer. But because the World War II genre had already been shot to death,
Yeah.
and I didn't even mention Battlefield 1943 or 1942 or whatever.
Hmm.
And that game, it was a step backwards because we had already gotten a taste of modern warfare, and you can't go back once you do that. I don't think, not that far.
Right. So, just to recap the World at War from both Veggie and Tony, the general consensus was for expectations going into it and what you came out of it would be uh, overall the experience was pretty good, but you were slightly disappointed because it was a step back. You had been given a taste of something completely new with COD 4, and then again, while the execution for World at War was good, the overall expectations of what you were hoping to get and what you did get were just kind of slightly disappointing.
I mean that's pretty
But
much.
for different reasons.
I don't
Yeah.
know if I was disappointed as much as it didn't have that addiction factor.
Okay.
Call of Duty 4 had the addiction. World of War felt like, even though it was the best World War II shooter, it felt like I had already been there like 1,000 times from the single player and even the multiplayer experience. It was just like, I can go back and play COD 4 and play with new guns. I'd been aiming down an M1 Garand or a Thompson for like 8 years. Like,
That's true.
I hadn't tried a G36 before. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I still, yeah, I really can't comment on the online gameplay. I can only comment on the single player modes up until Modern Warfare 2. So for me, I mean, the campaigns were entirely unique. Of course, like the campaign for Call of Duty 4, it was addictive. But then going back to the World War II, playing the Pacific side, that was pretty addictive too. Like I said, and having Kiefer Sutherland voice the character was just something. It was almost like a novelty. I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool. They put a lot of effort into this game. So maybe we can go back and like hit the Wayback Machine and start putting up videos of like Call of Duty 4 and World at War,
Mhm.
and then we could
well,
talk about it later.
I'll say on a final note that for World of War, in my opinion, best campaign of the entire series.
I
Oh,
might have to look
I'll
into it
debate you on
because
that one.
I really liked COD 4. I even liked COD 3. I mean, MW3's single player, but as far as, I don't know, I just felt that World of War just really had an really epic campaign, and they really portrayed, I think, better than any other World War II game, the Russian and German front, and
Well,
that
they
in
did
that particular
violence
side.
really well. The brutality of
Yeah.
war was played out really well in World at War. I mean,
Yes.
like
Limbs blew off.
you open that scene with the American getting killed. I don't want to say murdered. I mean, but pretty much murdered right in front of you.
Yeah, and they were the game. If you guys wouldn't know, I guess because you didn't really play it online. The reason there were no camouflages in that game on your weapons were because it was either you could blow people's limbs off and heads off, or you could have camouflage on the gun. So they chose to have the realistic
Limbs.
violence instead.
Oh,
That's nice of
and they
them.
brought out Nazi zombies.
Yeah, I can't believe we didn't even mention that. I don't want to spend time like really going through it because we've already spent a lot of time on it, but they did bring the whole zombie thing in, and that was their bread and butter, really. And that's, I
Oh
think, what
yeah.
kept a lot of people into World at War, but
Uh-huh.
and rightfully so. But so they brought the co-op experience into Call of Duty because they had that, and the campaign was fully functional as a co-op experience.
Hmm. Hmm.
all right, all right, okay. Well, but moving on
Big one.
from that to the smaller elephant in the room, Modern Warfare 2. I'm
Dun,
I'm
dun.
taking the reins on this one to start, and then I'll hand it over to Fake Thriller because you guys just owned World at War.
Yeah.
Yeah, playing it.
Mhm.
So again, kind of like me getting into Call of Duty 4 was I was really big into video games when I was young, and then I was really big into BMX in high school. Went to college. I didn't have time for video games anymore. Graduate college, no one's really riding BMX anymore. So holy shit, I have a lot of free time. So Call of Duty 4 was awesome, and then didn't play World at War. So by the end of that 2 year cycle, Modern Warfare 2 is coming up. They're starting to leak all this information, and I can't accurately describe just how excited I was, and I'm sure Fake Thriller will when it gets to his turn. But I was so fucking amped for this game. It's just like Call of Duty 4 is so good, and all these it just seemed like they were gonna double it. You're gonna have customizable kill streaks on top of the customizable classes, and they're gonna stack, and they're gonna have these beastly things like chopper gunner, the AC-130, the nuke, and it was just beyond excitement. It was like some fucking 8-year-old that was Christmas morning just opened up his first gaming console, or just whatever his greatest present he could probably possibly ever want was.
It overwhelmed your senses.
It really did. And like
Yeah.
it was everything I could have possibly hoped for. And again, it's funny because going through that like first stage of ignorance of not knowing what you were using was complete bitch class. Like I remember running around with my care package marker and tack knife and commando and like this is awesome. And like not thinking there's anything wrong with it. And then 2 months later I'm like, fucking douchebags using that class.
I abused the shit out of that too. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh yeah,
It was
I
so
did
much
too.
fun.
But at first, like I didn't think there's anything wrong with it, and then you kind of figure things out, and you realize, okay, that's not cool. Because, and I know there's the whole argument of, dude, it's in the game, use it. Well, I disagree with that vehemently, in my personal opinion, because I still want the challenge to run around with the one-man army, danger close, noob tube, and claymores, camp and roam, so no one can get to you, and just wait lace to everyone, or be an ultimate bitch and sit in the back and just rain down hell on one specific flag and domination. Like, yeah, okay, cool. You're getting 100 kills a game and maybe dying like 4 or 5 times, but it's not fun. There's no skill involved in that. I guess there's skill in the fact you had to take time to figure out those angles and everything, but it's not the same, and it never will be, in my opinion. So
I don't want to take up too much time. I want Chris to be able to get in a little more for this one, but I think it's interesting that in the beginning of that game, we have in common like the care package knife. We thought it was funny as shit, and we were doing it all the time.
Right.
And there was the noob tubing, like all the broken things, the javelin glitch, which I never did, but tons of people got shits and giggles doing it. All that stuff. The game came out broken, but we still loved it when it first came out.
Oh yeah.
And then
well,
I'll
I
pass
think a
that
lot
off
of
to you, yeah.
I think a lot of the what I mentioned before, the Call of Duty 4 ignorance, like blissful ignorance mentality, definitely carried over, because I would classify myself as a noob when Modern Warfare 2 was released. In like relatively speaking, compared to how I consider myself now.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing like the leaked, like the teaser, like how they do the teaser trailer, and then the last 10 seconds traditionally has been like multiplayer footage.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember the clip? It shows a sniper up on the cliff in Afghan.
Oh, yep, and he gets the throwing knife in the back.
Yeah, and I remember looking at that and be like, holy shit, look, you get close to this guy and your radar gets fuzzy, and then you throw a throwing knife at him. This is crazy. Like this is gonna be awesome. People aren't gonna be able to see where I'm coming. Like, I'm gonna use Scrambler all the time. So
I'm gonna
we were
confuse the enemy.
Yeah, we were definitely like newbie.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
our friend, like, we got it. We got it on release night, and our friend ended up picking it up a few days later. And what do you get to level 10 and you get to unlock your kill streaks? Like,
Right.
what did he unlock? He unlocked like UAV, counter UAV,
And the nuke.
Yeah. We're like, good job, dude.
I'm positive he never got the nuke in that game, ever.
No.
It took me a long time. I think I got like 4 or 5 or 6 or something, but I got into a magic lobby once with all these guys who were really bad and ended up getting like 4 in a row or something. But
I'm not ashamed to say the only time I got a nuke was Noob Tube One Man Army Danger Close.
Even I got it legit, but I think I got like 7 or 8 myself, and then it just
shit,
got
really?
old.
I've never gotten a nuke.
Oh,
mine was much better. I laid down 2 claymores and hid in a building with scavenger.
Well, that's what mine was. I remember it vividly. It was on Scrapyard. I was in, I want to say, what is it, A flag, like ADOM. There's that building back there. It's got the stairs and everything. Not the big hangar.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I had a claymore at the right side entrance, and then a claymore at the base of the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was up in that little room launching noob tubes towards, I think it's C.
Oh my God.
It was awesome.
My most memorable. I don't remember how I got the first one, but I know the most. I even actually did one for a live com like early on in the channel. That was pretty fun. But
Link in
my
the description.
yeah, actually, it's not a bad idea. But one of my more memorable ones was Chris and I, and then our friend we mentioned, where the first thing he unlocked was the nuke, and we were playing on Favela, and I believe it was domination, and it was just that absolute terrible spawn trap where you get
Yeah.
them trapped at the top of the hill, and
Yep.
it just worked out perfect. I had just got my chopper gunner, and I don't know what the flag capping scenario needed to be, but they were all spawning up there, and I just remember yelling like, "Oh my god, they're all fucking there, man!" and just laying waste these kids. I think I got like a 36 kill streak, so I got like 25 kills with my chopper gunner alone in the span of like I don't know, like 20 seconds while everyone was up there. It was like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That was easy.
It might have actually been demolition because I know we weren't big into domination for Modern Warfare 2.
That could be that.
Well, you guys
Dumb.
mentioned how much you loved it when it came out. At what point in the game's life cycle did you start to get the post-traumatic Modern Warfare 2 disorder, like anger rage?
I remember where it theoretically began, and it like what Snoo said earlier, it's in thanks to Wings of Redemption for making that Modern Warfare 2 in 8 minutes video, where he was playing. He basically publicized the one-man army Danger Close. He didn't invent it. He says right in the video that he ran into a lobby of people doing it. One-man army Danger Close noob tubes,
I remember that
and
video. It was one of the first Wings videos I had ever watched,
It was the
yeah,
first
along
I
actually,
had ever
along
seen.
with the Riot Shield nuke.
yeah, this is before we had a channel. This is before I even watched YouTube videos. I remember I had, and I didn't subscribe to him, but I bookmarked that video page. Like because and I remember we had an email going back and forth that day. We were both at work. We were talking about it. And we're like, we can't wait to get home and
Try
to
it.
try this.
Yep.
Oh, no.
So
Who
and
else?
So
Somebody
like,
else put out a video, like maybe the day after or just around that time. I think it was Trump, and he was using
yep,
Scavenger with it,
yeah,
and he was saying how broken. He's like, you need to go watch Wings of Redemption's video. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yep. So that I mean that doesn't it's not like we saw that and shook our head and said this game is broken and it's over now. Like this is going to be the worst thing that's ever happened to it. We were excited about it. Like we thought it was going to be fun,
hmm
and then I don't know. It just must have gained popularity, and eventually, I don't remember the breaking point, but
it just
I
got
rem
old at a point.
yeah, it just eventually overwhelmed. I'm trying to think. I want to look up when that video was released. Give me just 1 second.
Okay, I'll take it over from here while you do that.
Do
But
you do you, let me ask you this. Do you guys remember when Battlefield Bad Company 2 was released?
not
Yes, I
really,
do.
because I jumped into that really late.
I
And then
believe it was
Go ahead.
mid-March of
Okay.
2009, I believe. Oh, no. Modern Warfare 2 came out in '09. Is that right?
yes,
Okay, then it was, I think, March of 2010.
2010.
Yeah, and by
That's
that time, my
yeah.
anger had already been like full on. My brain had been nuked by MW2 by that point.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Wings of Redemption released that Modern Warfare 2 in 8 minutes video on January 9th of 2010. So just 2 months after the game was released.
Barely,
So
wow, it felt so much longer than that.
Hmm.
yeah, so we had theoretically, and I'll be the first to admit, I think we had 2 solid months of almost pure bliss
yeah.
with the game. The game was fantastic. Sure, it was. I mean, it was frustrating, but equally hilarious seeing somebody literally horizontal because they're running so fast, like their character's running so fast with the MLC care package glitch.
Yeah.
Like knife, like I remember going, I can't shoot him because he's like jumping around commando knifing all my teammates next to me, and I couldn't keep track of him. It was like the friggin' Matrix.
Yeah, I remember that happening. But yeah, I think it had to have been sometime in like February-ish when I got sick of it.
Yeah,
Not only the Danger Close, but Commando really bugged me too. That may have bugged me more than
Yes.
anything, to be honest. But yeah, because by the time when Bad Company 2 came out, I bought it pretty early in its life cycle, like maybe April or something. And I was done with MW2. I didn't play it except for to try to get gameplays for my new YouTube channel.
right. Well,
um,
that's what I was just gonna say
yeah.
is our channel was started in March of 2010,
Mhm.
so we at least hung with it probably pretty like lovingly for for at least 2 more months and enough to create a YouTube channel and stuff like that. So let me see. Our first video was uploaded March 25th, 2010.
So point
Really?
blank question.
Yeah.
No danger close, no death streaks, no commando in MW2. Would you still play it?
You forgot one
Yes.
important thing: not not being able to infinitely replenish explosives. That was the big thing. The danger close is a pain in the tits, but that's not what made it the problem. It was the ability to infinitely replenish your explosives. They got it right in
Uh,
Black Ops where you couldn't do that. If they had taken that away, it wouldn't have been as big of an issue.
yeah, no, I do agree, but I also like my most obnoxious class was sleight of hand with an RPG and a noob tube with danger close because you could fire
Oh
off 2
man.
rockets and 2 noob tubes all with it under 10 seconds. I mean, you could just get loads of it was really obnoxious. Now you would die or you'd be out of explosives after you fired 4 rockets, but it was still really bad, but would you play it if they got rid of, those aspects? Would you play it over MW3
Without
or
question. And
Oh
I know
yeah.
yeah,
Chris just
or not
answered it,
a
but
or not at all really is what I would wonder, but
I bring it up way too often. Now, very occasionally on our own channel, but on my Snoop 603 channel, I just started posting COD 4 again because I like it. I wanted to go back to where I had fun, and it's the simplicity that I like. And every time I think about Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2 and just what happened and kind of what this whole
mhm,
discussion is about, I
mhm.
say that every single time. If they had removed or fixed those issues that you mentioned, Modern Warfare 2 would still be played by the masses without question. It
So
was almost perfect. It was just that those basic two issues was the one man army danger close thing and commando. The death streaks they were annoying, but they didn't hold a
painkiller
candle.
painkiller bothered me a lot.
Oh, it
Yeah.
did, but it was nothing like the one man army or the commando because
Mm-mm.
almost everyone had that. Whereas the uh, painkiller, it only came up so often, maybe at most like 4 times in a game,
We
and
could
that
actually
sucked.
see
But
that in MW3 because they've got like Final Stand and Death and whatever that one is called, Dead Man's Hand when he has
oh,
C4
I
that just
hate
blows up
it.
instantly. It
Yeah.
wasn't, even though I mean those are not something I'd want in a game. They actually didn't really have any impact on my opinion of MW3. So personally, if MW2 didn't have all those things, I may actually play that over any Call of Duty, even though it wasn't my favorite since it did have all those things.
Without a question, I'd be playing it still right now. Like, I just love Battlefield 3 because again, it's new to me. I got to play BFBC 2 a little bit, um,
Mhm.
but I really like Battlefield 3 because it's a little bit faster paced.
Yeah.
Um, eh, so without a doubt, that's still going to get the majority of my attention. But again, just to reiterate my point, if they did fix everything, I'd probably be splitting my time 60-40 between Battlefield 3 getting the 60 and 40 still getting Modern Warfare 2 because when it was good, like those first, we'll say 4 months,
It
where we
was
were just
great.
completely
Yeah.
like happy with it, it was awesome. Like Search and Destroy was still just as awesome as it was in COD 4. Demolition was fucking awesome. That's where we put almost all of our time because it was a points whoring game. You get tons of kills, yet you can still play the objective. So it was like it had everything you could possibly want in a game type.
No.
I
Yeah,
know
just
for me, I wouldn't be playing Modern Warfare 2 if they fixed it. I prefer Black Ops over Modern Warfare 2.
What were you gonna
I
Hmm.
say, Chris?
I was gonna say we stuck with Modern Warfare 2 until at least September.
Right. And then we got to the point where like, okay, we're kind of focusing on Black Ops now, so now we have an excuse not to play this game anymore.
Yeah, we started posting like trailers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
I might be with Tony on that whole Black Ops thing. The only thing is I've never played Modern Warfare 2 fixed. I've only played it in the shitty version that I don't like.
Yeah.
yeah.
If I played the fixed
Good
version,
point.
I think I may pick it over Black Ops just because I think it would be a lot like Black Ops. Just
Probably.
it'd be faster paced.
Right. So
I don't know what everyone gripes about the pacing of Black Ops, and I'm not trying to move on to the next game or
nope,
anything,
that's
but
perfect. Segue right into it because I was just about to do it myself.
all right, good, because I don't really see the problem with the pacing in Black Ops at all. I think it's a great balance between Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2, because Modern Warfare 2 it just felt like you were always in a frenzy. Like I could never think, you just went and
Just
you
act and
ran.
react.
Yeah, you just action reaction. And it was, if it was a skill, it was the hand-eye coordination and reactionary skill set. With Black Ops, it felt like you could actually take that moment, think about what you're doing, and try to execute some sort of plan. I mean, there are moments where it gets really fast paced with um, certain maps, but a lot of people really don't like Array, for instance. I don't really mind it that much. Some of the
Well,
larger maps, and maybe that's why I love Battlefield 3, because I like the ability to, if I want to go out and flank someone, and if it takes me a minute to go do it, and I can get around and behind somebody, great. I don't want someone to spawn next to me as I'm trying to go around on a flank. That's
chess instead
obnoxious.
of checkers.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Or
Well,
yeah,
I
exactly.
think
Chess and sub checkers.
What, Veggie? Before you get into it,
yeah, go.
Chris, we've all kind of had our chance to go with what we expected going into the next game. What were your expectations going into Black Ops? Um,
Um,
Especially coming
I
off
was,
Modern Warfare 2. Like,
I mean, I was ready for Black Ops. I was hesitant about a Treyarch game, and once again, the time setting was different, but they had an interesting way of presenting it, so it didn't seem like they were necessarily limited to like World War II weapons.
Yep.
Um, I know I had high hopes, like higher hopes than what they came through with, but overall, my satisfaction with Black Ops is right there. It's the only one that still like gets a thumbs up in my book, even though I personally am not interested in playing that type of game right now.
yeah. All right, Veggie, what were you gonna say?
Well, in regards to the pacing, which is a reason why a lot of people I think stayed with MW2 and were kind of playing every Call of Duty other than Black Ops, or at least along with it, is the kill streaks didn't stack. The maps weren't necessarily bigger than COD 4, or maybe even MW2, but there was more recoil on the weapons, so it was harder to kill people. There was no stopping power, so people play or were alive fast or longer. And the sniper rifles were not as useful unless you played them like a sniper type of role. So I think the game got, and the kill streaks, like I said. So I think the game was slower paced than COD 4 and MW2 to an extent, but those were the reasons. And my expectations going into it, I wanted there to not be death streaks, and there wasn't. I wanted to be able to live a little bit longer than, with the stopping power thing, and that happened. And I wanted to be able to win gun on gun gunfights and be rewarded for it and not have bullshit deaths. And for the most part, Black Ops delivered on that. The whole getting shot with a primary weapon when they go into final stand was annoying, and Ghost made the game slow down a little bit too because people would pop out of nowhere or be camping or whatever. But overall, if I had to pick a Call of Duty to like take to the grave with me, it would be Black Ops at this point in
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
since nothing else got fixed or anything.
Now, I'm
Yep.
not going to say that Black Ops is not, without problems, because it certainly has its fair share of problems. The Ghost, Silence, Ninja, whole thing, avoiding
My
radar
favorite class.
entirely. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty BS. When you could be invisible on every audio visual aspect of the game, that's pretty bullshit.
On
Um,
such small maps, like
yeah, yeah, on such small maps, exactly.
compared
So
to like Battlefield or something.
here's what I think is funny is that Robert Bowling made a big show about how Modern Warfare 3 is going to be a gun on gun game, but it's
Bullshit.
no. But yeah, that's it. That's the bullshit. It's because the stackable kill streaks don't make it a gun on gun game. Black Ops was a gun on gun game. You want your next kill streak? Well, you had to kill somebody for it. That and the pacing slowed down. Why? Because people didn't want to die. So I don't get why people bitch and complain about, oh, I want a gun on gun game, but I want a faster gun on gun game, but I want my kill streaks. I don't see, you can't have everything.
What do I say to people that say they want a gun on gun game? I tell them to go play Operation Metro Conquest and
Yeah.
Yeah.
fight for the B flag
Yep.
Fight for the
because
B flag. Yeah, exactly. Without frag ammo.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
without so,
so Sean, would you guys say that Black Ops is the Call of Duty where the genre and the series started to get a little more stagnant for you guys?
Not really. Me personally, like going into Black Ops, I was very guarded because I was hurt. Modern Warfare 2 hurt my feelings. I was like, "Yay, this is awesome!" And then
It ripped it
like the
all
grim
away.
reality set in months later, and I was like ready to kill someone. I was like, "You fucker, you betrayed me!" But
You were supposed to be the chosen one.
exactly.
You were the chosen one!
Couldn't have put it any better.
Lion
Oh
King
my
type
God.
stuff.
So that being said, like I went into Black Ops very guarded, and because of that, I wasn't let down by any means. I expected a different paced game, but from day one, like I said the same thing from day one. And Chris is gonna give me shit because I
Yeah.
was a fucking broken record. It was lackluster, but that's not to say it was bad. It just
There's
No.
this
it was.
goddamn word again.
I really, because like
Hey,
you
know what was awesome is carrying around negative Nancy here for 9 months.
what the thing like what you guys had or sorry, what Tony had mentioned about Modern Warfare 2, how it was so fast paced, it was just act and react. I fucking loved that. I lived for that aspect of Modern Warfare 2, and I don't think they will ever be able to replicate that exactly. Like all broken issues aside, I thought the pacing of that game was perfect for the hardcore gamer. The weekend warrior, not so much because it's an act and react thing. You don't have time to really kind of get your bearings and take it step by step. It's fucking go go go. And Black Ops didn't have that. I will agree with Veggie though. It was definitely the most gun on gun based because no stackable kill streaks. So everything had to be done with your gun. And I like
And no
that.
replenishable claymores either. You got one and that's all you got.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think granted it's not 100%, but by far the most balanced Call of Duty they have done yet. And that's only going from COD 4 to present day because that's all I have my experience in. But without a doubt, it's the most balanced. But again, it seemed kind of lackluster to me because it did play a little slower. It
Well,
had
Mhm.
that's the issue of the Call of Duty franchise is that it's an arcade game, and maybe that's why Black Ops missed the mark, is because they missed that market that the who are buying the game. They want the fast pace, they want the arcade game, they want simplicity, and I guess there's more to Black Ops than just run around the corner and spray everybody in the room down and get your triples and your quads. Because
It's harder to get triples and
yeah,
quads in that game
yeah,
compared to like MW2 or something, yeah.
oh, without a
I
doubt.
I remember getting so frustrated because when you go from Modern Warfare 2, you run in the corner, you got three guys in front of you, and you've got your M4, and you just hose all three of them down. You feel like a champ, and you go teabag some people, and then you move on your way. Black Ops, you run in the room, same situation. You unload on one guy, kill that guy, put bullets in the next guy, and by the time you're almost out of ammo, the third guy, has killed you, and you're like flipping out, you know. So I
Mhm.
think the arcade people, I guess Snoov, that'd be you as far as the action and reaction. Um, you were probably the people who didn't like Black Ops for that reason because you just couldn't get away with being Rambo. I think everybody wants to be Rambo. Maybe that's what it is.
That is a very very good way to describe it. And
I love being Rambo.
I feel
Yeah.
I feel like my playstyle has definitely evolved. Like I definitely like Battlefield 3 better now because it's much more realistic. I like that style of gameplay compared to the Call of Duty where it's arcadey. But yeah, at the time going from Modern Warfare 2 to Black Ops, that is a really good way to put it. I enjoyed the faster paced, like really legit arcade style where it was so super fast paced. And I could be that fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger commando running around everywhere just wrecking and never reloading. But
Never
yeah,
out.
it
Wouldn't
was
that be the best perk ever?
but yeah, it
Oh,
was Black.
well, do you want to take? You want arcadey, but you don't want to take the quick scoping, right?
No, because that was a downside. I know you can't have both, but
Random.
it would be nice. And yeah,
It was
it was
random.
exactly there. And I will fucking argue to death with anyone that says quick scoping took skill. That's bullshit. I don't think there's any skill involved whatsoever. But that's just my opinion, and I feel very strongly about it. But
I would
hate
say that
hate
quickscoping
scopes.
takes skill only if the hitbox on a player was smaller. I love watching the all the videos and crap where people are showing their quickscoping skills, and you see the reticle and it's never even on their body, and they get a kill.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things too. Like I like to respect quick scoping, not to get into a debate as to what I've actually seen comment sections on YouTube videos where they debate what counts as a quick scope.
Yeah,
Oh
But
my god.
I don't have
1.2
a
seconds.
problem like the quick scoping that I guess you could say have respect for is when they bring up the scope enough to change their view they see crosshairs, even if it's for a split second. So they at least look down the sight. Like I
Yeah,
hate when it comes up about halfway because that's clear auto aim exploitation
yeah,
Exactly.
when they
Anything
fire
that's
with the scope
random.
halfway up.
yeah.
Anything that's random, you can't make it things random in like an online shooter. Like there has to be some sort of, you do this, you get rewarded for it, and it can't be, okay, I'll have a guy who's in front of me and I'll just randomly hit L1 and R1 as fast as I can and hope the bullet hits him. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like without even aiming, or I mean that.
But on top of that, it's I have a good chance of my bullet hitting him because
Yeah.
I'm exploiting the coding of the game because we're on console. Like you don't see quick scoping on PC, I'm pretty sure,
Well, now
because they don't have the aim
if
assist.
you're like Grizz or something, I guess. You know what I mean? Like somebody who like just did that exclusively and was good at it for so long. I guess he puts up some pretty good scores doing it. And I think he's kind of got it down to an art. And there may be some people like that. But for the thing that bothered me was not the people that kind of used it as a tool, but the people that did it exclusively.
And
Right.
360
And
and crap like that.
those were the ones that were annoying in any of the games.
Well, you mean like the people who like will jump off the edge of a high rise match in MW2 so their friend can get a sick kill cam. Like they finally pulled off their miracle shot and they
Yeah,
want it to
during
be the
Search and
final kill of
Destroy,
the
by the
round.
way.
Yeah, so they all jump off the edge.
Right. That's a huge problem in Black Ops because people do the same thing, but it was with tomahawks now. It
Yeah.
wasn't, they removed the quick scoping aspect. So like and I'm calling him out and I'm not meaning to be a dick by this, so please don't anyone take it that way. But Vicstar, I really liked what he did at first. The kid was a fucking tomahawk champ. But I really got turned off by him because he's the type of player in Search and Destroy that I do not like. And again, I'm not being a dick about this. I'm just offering a constructive criticism opinion on it. I don't care for players like that because you could see it clear as day. They'd spawn, he'd throw up two tomahawks, and if you got a kill, you could watch every
Yeah.
single player run and jump off the cliff. You could see it in the kill feed, and it's like exactly what happened in Modern Warfare 2. They just segued into Black Ops, only it went from quickscoping to tomahawks, and it's
Yeah.
ruined Search and Destroy for me because like that's a game type I held near and dear to my heart. That's what started this entire channel. That's what started Shustybang. That's where it all came from. And these kids have ruined it because no one's
Back
playing it.
in
It's
my
like
day. Back
it's
in
like
my day. The
We had
M16 with the red dot. Well, starting with you, Chris, if we went through every game, what was the best thing, worst thing of, let's say, Call of Duty 4?
oh wait, do we need
Um,
to get through Modern Warfare 3 before we get to that, or do we just gonna cover up to that point?
Why don't we just cover up to that point? That way we don't have to touch it.
All
We
right,
can just
good.
go straight on to Modern Warfare 3 after that. And
Okay,
all right. So, Call of Duty 4. I guess from my point of view, is that blissful ignorance and innocence we had with gaming. It was fucking awesome. We played Search and Destroy for hours, just over and over and over again. Um, so I would say the best thing about Call of Duty 4 was what I just said. Like it was a new game.
fresh.
We weren't weighed down with the knowledge that we're weighed down with now with our expectations.
Yeah.
Um, the worst thing about it, um, probably comes. No, I'm trying to think.
It's
I don't even want to say it's like three times frags or anything like that. Like,
Isn't it funny that with COD 4 struggling to find what was the worst? Like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
If I could pick anything for the worst, it might be that the host connection was so powerful in that game, and
Yeah, but
the
I
host
could.
ended game and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's it. The game itself was new, so a lot of the user interface things were new. A
Yep.
lot of things we take for granted now. Like, you remember you would send your friend an invite, and if you fucked up and hit no, you couldn't send another invite for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know how many phone calls were placed going, "What the fuck are you doing, dude? Sorry, I hit no."
What about
Like,
you, Sean?
Oh, thing I liked best from just Called 4 and didn't
Yeah.
like. I I can agree with everything Chris said. Like it was just that blissful ignorance. That's a really good way to put it. You didn't know
like
anything else really. It was just like this was totally new, and every single thing we experienced was un it was just totally new.
But we were in the grind. We figured it out. Like we were new, but we weren't noobs. Like going, what do I do? Like we learned how to play, and we were pretty good, and we would win a lot. Like and yeah, I
Yeah, no,
guess
we did do that because by the time Modern Warfare 2 rolled out, I think I was in the top 20,000 in overall score, like in the world or something like that on PS3. But
and that's getting like a couple months late start from release.
yeah, because I didn't get it until
January.
when did Con 4 came out in
It
November
would
of
have been November.
2007. I think
Yeah.
I got it in oh man, when did I get that? I got it like sometime early 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So did
got
I.
mine in February of 2008. So you must have had yours by in
No,
January.
I
I
think it was a Christmas present to myself. So it was right about that point, right at the end of 2009 into or 2007 into 2008.
I may have gotten mine new, but I didn't play it online until like mid 2008.
That's where it
Yeah.
started for me because my buddy had it and he
Yeah.
I forget exactly how it worked. He had one PlayStation version. Oh, he had the one that was not backwards compatible to the PS2, and that's what he wanted. So he sold me his for like next to nothing, and that's the only reason why I was able to get into it. And then he went and bought another one. Um, but
Yeah. So worst thing.
worst
What do you?
thing again, I gotta agree with you. It was the user interface being new and kind of going into this whole realm of it's not our primary focus has gone from campaign to multiplayer now.
Had
They
little
still had a
quirky
yeah,
things
there's just
in
a lot
it.
of kinks
Yeah.
they had to iron out. So yeah, like you said, there's a lot of things that now kids take it granted for. The big thing was the host quitting. God, that was annoying. Like
Hmm.
you just get into a couple of lobbies where like 5 or 6 games straight in a row, the host would quit as soon as the game started just to be a dick. It's like that.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't necessarily boot him out of the lobby, would it?
No, it wouldn't. And you'd be
No.
like, oh, maybe it was just a connection issue. And it happens again. You're like, nah, it's coincidence. And you're stupid enough to stick around
Loss.
for a third
Loss.
time. It's like, okay,
Loss.
fuck, we're done with this.
He's like, you get a loss and you get a loss.
Right. So
Well, I'll make it three because I agree that the thing I thought was best about it was how fresh it was and how it kind of changed. It was different than anything I'd ever played, and I'd add into the whole like the little quirkiness of the game and all the problems with the interface it had was the power of the host system kind of being abused in terms of connection, being able to quit the game, being able to lag people out. You'd be winning like 7,400 to 5,000 in team deathmatch, and then the host would end the game. And even though
That
you'd get a win, I think in team deathmatch and stuff like that, if it happened in like sabotage or something, it'd be a draw. And
yep.
it was annoying. And sometimes the host would quit after they got like the first kill in team deathmatch. And
Shit.
and that's I'd agree with that. What about you, Tony?
Um, I think my biggest problem with Call of Duty 4 is the fact that you were able to shoot through brick and other things with small arms.
yeah. You get
That
deep
that
impact.
with like a pistol, being able to shoot through a wall and kill somebody. That
Yeah,
right
they
there,
hadn't quite figured it
I
out.
get the idea of shooting through wood. I get the idea of shooting through galvanized steel. I don't get the idea of shooting through walls. And then when that'll be my bitch for Modern Warfare 2 is Full Metal Jacket. I hated Full Metal Jacket.
You know what's
You
funny
know,
is we're talking about the things we hate. How minute are these things that Call of Duty 4 had to offer that we really
listen.
hated compared to everything
well,
else?
I don't want to be like the hateful because I the whole time I'm like listening to this last I don't know half hour or so, we're like bitching. We're like a big bitch fest. I mean, there's good things that these
Well,
games
yeah.
have, but there's
Call of
just
Duty fans are the biggest whiners
we
in
are,
video
aren't
Oh
games.
yeah,
we?
we are.
It's so I
Um,
feel so bad because like I don't want to sound like we're all constantly bitching about something because the game obviously has more to it than what we're bitching about or which
Well,
we don't like.
and look at each game and then follow it with each like subsequent release. The major gripes were fixed for the most part or toned down to where they were acceptable, but then we found a whole new set of gripes. Like,
Yeah,
and we do it repeatedly. We are serial offenders.
yep.
It's a
it's
yearly thing.
it's only getting worse too. It is only getting worse with like I was mentioning earlier, Twitter, YouTube.
Yeah, well, and not to give a sneak preview to the MW3 discussion, but we've pulled away from bitching about perks to attacking the game's friggin' coding.
Right.
Like
It's
That
frame
we don't
rate.
even
101 segment.
we don't even know how to code things. We're just going like, I'm pretty sure someone
It's
said the
got
coding's fucked, so
it's gotta
let's bitch about
gotta be.
that.
Well, I won't spend any time on World at War other than just to say what I liked about it. It was, in my opinion, the best World War II shooter that is made in terms of single player and multiplayer. And the reason I disliked it was, of course, the only real problem with the game. The host ended game, I think, was still in there, but
Mhm.
the MP40 just being so much more powerful than any other gun, most powerful gun in Call of Duty history, and absolutely everybody used it with no regard to self-respect or anything. So
Yeah.
that's all I can say about that. But it was pretty close to Call of Duty 4 in terms of everything else. I think just it wasn't fresh.
How about you, Tony?
No, yeah.
Your love hate
All I
for
really have to say about World of War, Jack Bauer.
it.
That's it. That's all you really have to say. I mean,
Best voice acting of any Call of Duty.
it was great. I just like it's like sound like a broken record, but I didn't play the game online, so I can't really express my like or dislike for the game. But I thought it had a good campaign, and for me, it felt like Call of Duty 3 with Call of Duty 4, sort of like those
Yeah, they
two
had a
hybrided
baby.
together
Yeah.
and made World at War. I don't think it was the best looking Call of Duty game ever.
It was
Um,
gritty. That's what
it
everybody
was really
described it
gritty, and
as.
maybe that added to the game. Um, but yeah, I mean, it has its place, and some people love it, some people hate it. With like any game, some people love them, some people hate them. I'm indifferent about it just because I never played it online.
Oh, Chris,
All right.
Sean, that takes us to Black Ops, huh?
Well,
Or
Modern Warfare
MW2,
2. Yep.
MW2.
In
Yeah.
the
See,
interest
I've
of
erased
speeding,
it from my heart. So.
in, in the interest of speeding things up, it just do a
Yeah,
quick
go for it.
love hate for both MW2 and Black Ops. For Modern Warfare 2, what I loved at first was the overall pace of play. Thing were way faster, and they were able to expand on everything. The customization reached a whole new level that we were like, holy fuck, I didn't realize we could get to this point. What I hated, the game breaking issues I mentioned, and they were that. They were a game breaking issue. That is the reason why I do not play that game anymore. With the one man army, danger close, commando, whatever else. Black Ops, things I love most about it, hands down the most balanced Call of Duty there is. The thing I didn't like about it, a couple of perks here and there. Just the last stand thing where there's like that little glitch was really, really annoying.
Yep.
And I feel like every kill, had it required one less bullet, would have uh, sped up the pace of the game just a little bit. And that's the thing I didn't like was the pace was dumbed down just a little bit compared to Modern
Mhm.
Warfare 2. So I didn't enjoy it as much, but I still did enjoy it overall.
And Cruz.
Modern Warfare 2, the best thing about it was the first 3 months. Everything was glorious. Like we didn't know what everything did. We didn't know what a Pavlo was. We didn't know what a Harrier did. Um, Learning all the new kill streaks and stuff like that was awesome. I remember on release night, me and Snoop were playing a match on what's the big snow map? Do you remember?
Oh, derail.
Derail.
Yeah,
Derail, and I remember he was just a few levels ahead of me, and he had unlocked the Scar, and I was like, dude, what the hell gun are you using? Because his character was like 50 feet away, and I hear, "Fwah, fwah, fwah, fwah," like this fucking beast gun firing, and I was like, what is that? I cannot wait to see what this gun does. and like just the newness of everything, like seeing the world that they had presented to us. It was awesome. The worst thing about Modern Warfare 2 was their complete unwillingness to not just like fix the problems, but acknowledge
That there was a
things
problem.
as a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and communicating. Like, I it's probably wrong of me to feel jaded for being a StarCraft fan and player, and StarCraft and Blizzard does it right when
Yeah.
they not only do they like when they patch something, they give you they tell you exactly what they patched down to the statistic, like the damage stat for this, the rate of fire for that, and then they give you a reason why. Not only do they do that, before they actually enact that patch, they create a new server called the public test realm where they put in proposed changes that they're thinking about making, see how the game plays for a little while, gather data, and then from that data, they go and actually initiate a patch. And some things get added, some things get tweaked, and some things get removed. Um, there's no reason other than Activision or Infinity Ward not wanting to put the money into somebody doing that and communicating with the fans. There's no reason for not doing that other than the fact that they don't want to pay for it.
Yep.
So that's probably the worst thing about Modern Warfare 2. Black Ops, what I liked about it the most was it let good players be good, and it let good players triumph over not as good players
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. Um, what I didn't like about it was it wasn't as exciting. There was never the like I remember in Modern Warfare 2 how many times my heart was going because I had my Predator missile. I picked up my double kill, and now my Harriers were coming in, and I was waiting for the AC-130 to get earned. Like, and I wasn't even doing anything. I was like hiding like a bitch, waiting for my Harrier to get me kills, and I was going like, come on, this is fucking awesome. And then like, boom, AC-130, and I'm like, let's go, bitch! Like opening that laptop. There's no better feeling than like finding a secure corner and opening that laptop to open a chopper gun or an AC-130 or something like that. That was super exciting. And Black Ops kind of just didn't have that. The best thing you could do was the chopper gunner, which was
Boring.
eventually useless. It was useless by the end of the game.
Yeah, and as quickly as I can, MW2, best thing about it was definitely the pacing and feel of the game, because it not only had the pacing and feel that it needed in terms of speed and everything, but also all of the customization and new stuff you could use that you didn't have in COD 4 or in World at War. It wasn't too much to where it was way too complicated. It was, to me, just the right amount of stuff to be able to play with customization and perks and kill streaks and all of that. The worst thing about it was it got a little too diverse when it came to like death streaks. And to me, death streaks, danger close, commando, Snoov mentioned, replenishable explosives, which I wouldn't really mind on grenades, but that was definitely the worst stuff that MW2 had. And the complete lack of support, like you said, Chris, was absolutely, it was mind blowing. With Black Ops, I agree. It was the most balanced. I also think it was the game that more than any other, if you were an individual good player, or even in a party, no matter what, the better, if you were better than everybody else, you would get a better score than everybody else, because there wasn't much they could rely on other than maybe hiding in a corner with Ghost and like a motion sensor. And that's about the only thing. I didn't mind the pacing because I can't tell if I thought that game was too slow or slower because I was kind of sick of Call of Duty, because I did take a hiatus during that game, or if
Yeah.
I was just sick of Call of Duty in general, or it was that particular game, because I love it now. And like the last few months it was out, I didn't have any gripes with it at all. So the best thing to me was definitely the balance and the ability to get rewarded kind of based on how well you could play. And the worst thing about it was the connection issues. As I got frame rate lag
Oh
and
yeah.
lag compensation, I guess, began on that game to some extent. And the overall powerfulness of Ghost. If I could have changed anything, I would have made it where Ghost only kept you off the radar, probably like every other UAV sweep or something. Just something to kind of balance it out. I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's my take on those two games.
I
Tony.
think what I liked about Modern Warfare 2, it was there was a pulse pounding quality about the game. You really got like that pulse pounding, just like, oh my god, it's intense. It was fast paced. What I didn't like, and I think it even started with Call of Duty 4, was the whole idea that you could not make noise. And I think that's what I loved when I finally got into Battlefield. Well, I've been playing some Battlefield games for a while, but when you play Battle, you make noise, and I think I like that. There's just that quality of reality that was missing. Um,
Uh, yeah, I not to cut you off or anything,
uh-huh,
but I worked as a security guard for 3 years at a hospital,
uh-huh.
and I remember thinking like, and I just wear a security uniform with boots, and I'd have like a key ring and stuff, and like nothing much. But I remember walking down the hallway and going, "Holy shit, I am loud as
I
hell."
need
And you're
dead
just,
silence.
yeah. What do you
Like
mean dead
there is no
silence?
way these army soldiers are running around not making any sound.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. It just drove me nuts. When you almost needed a headset to do well in Modern Warfare 2, because I mean, you couldn't hear people running if they had Ninja on. So
Yeah.
that and Commando, I mean, all the regular stuff I would gripe about. Kill streaks are something that have now become a bane of my existence for Call of Duty games. I just can't. Infinity Ward kill streaks, I just can't stand them. I just really can't stand how annoying they are, because they really shut down the battlefield. Like the
Yeah.
pave load, unless someone's going to shoot it down, which some people just don't like to. It really kills the game. I mean, you really can't go outside, and if you're playing domination, you're fucked.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Anyone who's had a Harrier do a
yeah,
180 to get you, you're like, what the
I
fuck?
know. It's just thinking about it. But then going on to Black Ops, Black Ops is always going to have a real special place in my heart, because that was the one game that was what my channel was started on. But it was the game that I was damn determined to learn that game, the maps, the spawns, all the choke points. I spent so much time dissecting, learning callouts. I spent a lot of time learning that game, so that game is always going to have a special place in my heart, and I will always overlook what I believe are the negatives because of that. But I mean, the negatives we all know. Some people will say some pacing. Ghost is a big one. I really can't even say that like Ninja was that big of a deal, or what I think it called Ninja, anyways, because
Last stand. Yeah.
but you just because you really couldn't hear anyone. I mean, the sound wasn't as big of a factor in Black Ops. Um,
Yep.
connection would be the only thing for me that is the biggest problem with the game, because it was bipolar. Because there were times where I would have just stellar connections where I could win every gun battle, and then there were nights that within like 2 matches, suddenly you couldn't kill anything. You go from 23-5 to 5-23. It was that bipolar of a game at times. So that's my complaint about Black Ops.
All right.
Sean, Chris,
With
how has
all
Modern
that,
Warfare 3 affected your life?
I was gonna say, with all that being,
Should we have a support group right now? Do we need candles? Are
all
we
right,
all in the same places?
well, with all that being said, we get to tackle the elephant in the room finally. Um, we are at that what the fuck point in the franchise, and to kind of recap, like, if you could look at it like a plane and then mark the spikes of my excitement with the Call of Duty franchise, like, it was pretty high for COD 4, reached its climax for Modern Warfare 2, got down kind of low for Black Ops, and there is not enough room for the negative for a hit for Modern Warfare 3. It it
Get
is
ready for a 3.5 hour podcast.
this game is the like embodiment to me of what a bad game is, and I will say I don't necessarily think it's the developer's fault to
I
a
do.
point, and it's because the thing I forgot about, like the first 2 days were the only time I really gave this game like any thought that I was going to enjoy it. And then I was neutral from that point on. Like, okay, I got to go to this thing neutral, not expecting good or bad. And I did that for a couple weeks, and then just I couldn't do it anymore. But there was that huge falling out with Infinity Ward. They lost. I do believe it was West and Zampella. They're two CEOs, and with them, they took literally half the workforce from Infinity Ward. That is half the team that built what gave us Call of Duty 4 and what gave us Modern Warfare 2. For all its issues, like, I think that was a huge, huge factor in what happened with the quality of Modern Warfare 3. They had to bring in a second development team a couple of months already into the development process. And there's no way this game was going to come out unscathed. I know Chris and I had talked about that a lot, and everyone did when it first all happened. But then everyone just kind of let it go. It was like, well, it really
Well,
wasn't that close to when they started on it. So, well,
well, we had grand illusions too because there was rumors or maybe there were facts about 3 different companies working
Uh-huh.
on the game, and I remember saying that that could be a good thing because maybe you got a whole company devoted to game mechanics, then one to campaign, and then one to multiplayer. Like that sounds like a pretty good operation.
right, which would make sense if the people that working on multiplayer were the same people that did it the first 2 times, which I'm pretty sure at this point we know is not true. I think Sledgehammer is one that's responsible for the multiplayer aspect.
But if you look at the game though, there was definitely a disconnect. There was some severe corners cut with I'm trying to think of I think in-game textures. How many Call of Duties have we seen that goddamn white box truck?
Oh yeah,
It's been in there.
Yeah.
It's been in the last 3 Infinity Ward games. Like, just, dude,
Make
like,
it purple.
make a
stop being
different
lazy.
truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, you know what?
Stop
That
putting
that's
it.
sort of a thing. They when I was at COD XP, they put those things there. They sold T-shirts with the moving van logo. That's kind of like they're trying to link those games together. Some sort of like a cult following kind of a
Well,
deal.
but to me, that looks like they're trying to capitalize the wrong way on something. They're like, listen, we really want to reuse these textures and models. How about we make it like our thing? Let's just base the game around it.
Let's
Like that's
just
like
have the same
really
maps
poor.
and change the colors of the buildings.
Yeah, that's like a really poor way of doing things. Not, and I'm no video game developer, but that's a poor way of doing anything in life is completely settling and taking what seems to be a 180-degree turn just to follow through on a box truck.
right.
Like if we make T-shirts, we can pretend that this is our plan all along.
Yeah. The
I
other issue I found with this whole thing, it's kind of like the skeleton in the closet. For lack of a better phrase at the moment, Activision, the parent company behind it. Look at what Call of Duty 4 is able to do, going from what Veggie pointed out, going from the World War II style to the Modern Warfare style. Okay, now it has relevance to what's going on today. That became a huge commercial success. Now the parent company, Activision, is kind of like the producer for a band. Like they're the record company. The band
Yep.
does all the work, but it's the record company that puts up the cash to get their work out to the masses.
Yep.
That's essentially what Activision is. Activision saw the huge, and this is just speculation, but I think it's got to be relatively close to the truth. Activision, it's a business, and that's something that
It's
I forget a lot of the times, and a lot of people forget most of the time. It's a business. They're not in this to make us happy. They're in it to make money. They saw
yeah,
the
and
huge, huge commercial success with Call of Duty 4. So I'm willing to bet, it's just like a musician. The first album comes out, it's huge. So they go in, they're going to do whatever for the second one. Record company steps in. We'd really like to hear you do this thing. I think Activision did the same thing with Modern Warfare 2 and even worse with Modern Warfare 3. Look, guys, we know what you're going to do here, but we'd really like to see you do this. And it's not a
well,
suggestion. You have to do it.
I'll prove your argument right,
Yep.
like right now with
I know what you're gonna
two
say.
things. You know exactly what I'm going to say.
Yep.
Guitar Hero and Tony Hawk.
Yes.
Yep.
Like both owned by Activision, and look at how great those used to be, and look at where they are
Yep,
This
now.
they
is
got driven
not
right into the ground.
Activision's first rodeo.
No.
No, and I guarantee you, this is a 10-year plan. They have no problems with Call of Duty biting the dust at the end of their. I mean, it might not even. Maybe it's a 6-year plan.
2014, 15. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're shooting a little far for a 10-year plan, but if they can get 5, 6 solid years out of Call of Duty, breaking records, pulling in billions,
$1 billion a
then
year.
success. It's a bona fide success. Congratulations. Put this on your resume. Oh, it's dead. Like we've driven it into the ground and alienated millions of players. So our name like barely comes up to unless they're an educated player.
Exactly.
And I'm like people need to look into it to even connect Activision to all these games and notice their patterns. the once again average Joe Schmo who just happens to make up the millions, who just happens to be the one that shells out the billions to Activision, doesn't even realize it.
Right, and all they see is, particularly for Call of Duty, Activision sits in the background. Again, it's not really their game to be in the forefront of the media end of it, of the advertising end. They just give the cash to make it happen. They're the ones. They're the puppet master pulling all the strings in the end. So when the game does become mud, who takes the fall? Infinity Ward, because
Well,
they're the name that's associated
not,
with the game.
I wouldn't say not even Infinity Ward, but just the
Call of
franchise.
Duty.
Yeah, franchise takes a hit.
Yeah.
Well, I won't even I don't even blame I agree with you. I don't blame Activision. I don't hold my fist out at them in rage or anything
Yeah, I do.
because they're making an investment. They want a return on it. And they want to maximize the profit. I completely understand it. And, I know Call of Duty can't be that great forever, but I can honestly say about Modern Warfare 3, I played this for 30 hours. That's it. And that was mostly the first week.
I played 16 total hours on both systems.
Okay. And
I think I'm about the same.
I didn't do poorly in the game. I did fairly well. KD was above 2. I had a few good matches of 56-1, 53-1, 48-1, some really great scores. I did not have fun getting those games. It didn't matter if I went 15-10, 10-15, or 50-1. I did not have fun playing the game. And I think part of that is Call of Duty kind of wearing me out. There's been so many of them, kind of like with Tony Hawk or Guitar Hero. How many times can you play with that fucking guitar before you get bored with it? I think Call of Duty has sort of reached that point, but in terms of just the game itself, from an analytical standpoint, I think the map design in this game really threw the game under the bus because it catered so much to the people who want to die, respawn, and kill you as fast as they can.
Oh, it took me a couple weeks to realize that I was sucked into the support package cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I completely changed my play style because I was rocking the support package and I didn't need to worry about if I would die or not. And personally, as what I like to imagine myself as a above average Call of Duty player, I don't accept dying as well as Joe Schmo. So it severely conflicted with my instincts. I should be doing better, but I don't need to be doing better. But I want to do better, and I'm not having fun. So fuck it, I'm quit. I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Yeah, nothing about this game, with the exception of the first 2 hours we played it, and I don't know what to attribute that to. Was it just because it was not necessarily a new game, because it was basically Modern Warfare 2 rehashed, which I was fine with. Again, Modern Warfare 2 just needed a couple of fixes. So everyone that was complaining, it's Modern Warfare 2.5, to me, that would have been awesome. If they had just asking for. Right, if they had just fucking fixed a couple of issues, that would have been perfect. So the first, I think we played 3 hours the night we got it, midnight release. And the first 2 hours of that was just, this is everything we hoped for. And then it started to more, because we're on East Coast, we had it before almost pretty much the entire country. So as the night went on a little bit, more and more people get on, and all of a sudden lag compensation, which we didn't recognize it for what it's worth. You could tell something was wrong. And it was okay, maybe it's just we're overtired. Our reactions aren't as quick as they should be. We'll go to bed. We'll tackle again the next day.
Yeah, we don't know the maps.
Right. So we handled it the next day. I didn't even think we got in a couple hours, and just instantly warning bells are going off my head. There's something wrong with this game. This is not playing right.
It's when a child's born and his head is all fucked up and low set ears. Everything
what the fuck?
This kid is not right.
Right, yeah. It just
take that, you winged spawn of Satan.
Exactly.
It never felt right. There was just something wrong about it. I was leery the whole time. There's something wrong. There's something behind the curtains that I'm missing, but I can feel it. I can sense it in everything I'm fucking doing, and I'm not enjoying myself. There's something hindering the way I'm playing, and I know it's not just me. And I was okay, it's just gotta be being new to the game. And I convinced myself for that the first week, and then it became apparent that wasn't it. There's something wrong with this game. There are many things wrong with this game.
I don't even know how you guys got that far in your analysis of what's going on. For me, it was like I got slapped in the face. It's like, why am I dying so quickly when I'm putting half a magazine into somebody? Why is he turning on me and killing me in one bullet? Like
Wait,
it
he
was
spawned right
so
there.
it was so blatantly obvious that there was a problem. Like
Yeah.
I played the campaign, I jumped online. I didn't actually I didn't even played much more. I think I played maybe like an hour of the campaign. Anyways,
Campaign was pretty good in my opinion, by the way.
that's what I keep hearing. I keep
Thumbs
hearing
up.
it was pretty good. But yeah, that right there, the first taste of lag compensation, I'm just like, this is crap. There's no reason why I should be dying this quickly when I can't put people down that quickly.
Yeah.
That's when I
Well,
knew that there was a serious problem, and that was what 3 weeks after Battlefield came out. It's just like I know what a good game feels like to play. I can't play this game. It is not a good game.
I think that is the answer or my answer as to how we got as far as we did into the game is I was worried because don't forget that Battlefield timed their beta like mucho goodo right before Modern Warfare 3 came out.
Well,
So
some
like we
people
had,
argued against that. They thought that it was terrible, that Battlefield was going to be just terrible because we were playing the beta and the beta had all those problems. And
yeah, and then Modern Warfare 3 was going to step up and be like,
yeah,
"Welcome back."
yeah, exactly.
But whether or not that happened, like because I know I had a lot of problems with the beta too, with Battlefield, like getting into games and all that stuff. Um, I think it changed my mentality of what kind of a game I was looking to play,
Yeah.
whether it was conscious or subconscious. Um, but I was worried about not putting enough time into Modern Warfare 3 and then coming to these conclusions. Like I came to the conclusions fairly quickly, but I needed to grind out more hours to back up my claims before I took a stand and said this game is broken. Because you don't want to put the game down after 3.5 hours and say no, that game is
Yeah.
severely broken and I will never play it again because you don't have any credibility at that point.
I
But
I agree. It's weird. I think, the whole Call of Duty kind of playing itself out may have something to do with it. I mean, I know it does for me at least, but it's almost as if it was a perfect storm for me to hate this game because it has the lag compensation and connection issues of Black Ops. It
Mhm.
has Ghost being the most powerful second tier perk.
Yeah.
It has you dying as quickly as Modern Warfare 2, which I kind of like living longer in Black Ops. Like, it seems like it took everything wrong. It has death streaks. It has
Yeah.
stackable kill streaks the stackable skill streaks doesn't bother me, but the fact that you can have those and then you can also have support ones that don't stack, I don't know, and then you can get all the perks in the game. There's nothing more annoying than dying to a guy who has every perk in the game, by the way. Albeit he
Mhm.
Yeah.
got it on a 9 kill streak or 8 kill streak or whatever, but it seems like all the things that this game kind of added in or took from other games is something that I didn't really care for. It's like a perfect storm. I'm sure a lot of people enjoy it. Obviously they do. That's fine. I mean, I don't begrudge them, but to me, I found a better game in Battlefield 3 and I enjoy it a lot more. And so, I
Mhm.
mean, I enjoy it enough and I dislike MW3 enough that I don't even want to put any time into Modern Warfare 3.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
And I'm
Preaching
not
to the
gonna
choir.
and I'm not gonna lie. I I would took that $35 from GameStop and I ran away from that store to the bank. Okay, I ran because I thought that was a bargain to get $35 back for that damn game that I had no enjoyment out of, and I can't believe. I mean, it's $60. I'm an adult. I'm not dependent on somebody's allowance or something. But that Call of Duty Elite, has there ever
Listen,
been a bigger sham ripoff
listen.
than Call
We
of
got
Duty
out.
Elite?
We got out. I am so glad that we got out before the worst thing that could happen, right? That could have happened is this could have been a good game and I could have been very thoroughly enjoying myself and then I would have had to put up with this gigantic cock in my ass that Activision is throwing forward with this Call of Duty Elite thing. I'm totally fine with what they're doing. I'm willing to pay the money if what they're saying or what they're advertising for is true. But to tell me that my $50 is not as good as an Xbox player's $50 is
Yeah.
bullshit. I would have to be I would be forced to stop playing the game on principle for something like this. The fact that I still have to wait until, correct me if I'm
A
wrong,
month later.
regular Xbox players, non-elite members, to get the map packs before a paying elite PlayStation 3 member.
Yeah, that's the biggest pile of horse shit ever. Like, you want to talk
Yeah.
about getting completely fucking ripped off? That.
Not
Like,
not
Well,
okay,
rip
that's
off.
a
Ugh.
that is a big bullshit. The whole agreement, like, oh, the Call of Duty has an agreement with Xbox. However, for us PlayStation guys, Battlefield,
3.
EA has an agreement with
They got
PlayStation,
it.
and we get
They
it.
got it for a week.
I think we got like
Yeah.
2 weeks early. But now, Chris, you'll probably find out when you pick up that copy for Xbox. The Xbox version of Battlefield doesn't play as nice as the PlayStation version. It's kind of apparent. Like,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to like parties, getting squads together, it was obvious that the PlayStation version is I don't want to say a better game, but there are things about it that run smoother. How about that?
Well, I've heard that the PlayStation 3 in general handles Battlefield 3 better than the 360 version.
And
And by the way, just for those who don't have Call of Duty Elite, the combat record from Black Ops, that's what it is, and that's all that it is. And it's not even as good as the Black Ops one. It's done less
Mhm.
poorly. It takes longer to load on the web page.
it's an application too. It's not even
It's an
built into
app,
the
yeah.
fucking game.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah, you gotta
absolutely
quit
what
the
it is.
game.
I thought
Yes.
I scoffed at people when they said that Activision or Infinity Ward would charge us $60 or whatever to pay for combat record. I'm like, they wouldn't do that. What kind of an
Oh,
idiot would do that
well, you know
when they already did it for free? And that's exactly what they did, except for the fact that Chris and I have commented on this. We can change our classes from our cell phone.
Ooh. Well, you know what? But
Oh.
here's the thing, though, is that when I was at COD XP, the selling point to COD Elite wasn't only the fact that you could look at all these stats and crap, but I mean, it saved you $10 over buying the DLC in the first place, and you got one map a month, apparently, or some sort of DLC every month for 12 months. So, I mean, when you're looking at it, are they stealing money from you? Not really, because
No.
Oh,
if you're gonna
no.
buy, it's not like you paying for COD Elite and then you got to pay for the map packs. So I mean, you're saving $10, but it is like what you're getting for it. I mean, you're getting the map packs. Yeah, if you're gonna be that kind of player, you're gonna pick up the map packs. Then you're gonna spend that money anyways. But they could have done a lot more with it, you know.
Well, but what you were just saying is the perfect justification for getting it, and that's what I was saying. If it was that, then I would gladly pay for that service. But to turn around and tell me that I now have to wait an extra 2 months just because I play on a PlayStation 3, like that's like what I have a real
Yeah,
problem with.
no, I agree. I've never understood why the Xbox
Money.
gets maps. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, yeah, it's money. I mean, it is money. It's pretty obvious, but it just still it's a fairness thing, you know. It's just like,
I love
well,
money,
I love
but
money.
I think
I
it's
like,
fucked.
you know what it is? In this, Chris, you're gonna probably agree with this. My dollar is just as powerful as an Xbox player's dollar.
Yeah.
You know, we got the game at the same time. It's not as if Xbox came out a month earlier.
Listen,
I
I'm a valuable customer. I am a sucker for these things.
yes, he
I will
is.
I will get all of these awesome things as
a
long as
Call
they're
of Duty
awesome.
hat.
But yeah, I'd be like, this Call of Duty hat lets me it plays like the ambient sound found in the different maps, depending on the temperature
Okay,
outside.
wait. Speaking of ambient sounds, I don't. Did you guys ever play Battlefield 2?
No.
No.
Damn it. Okay,
Hmm.
so you know on the Back to Karkland package,
Yep.
Yes.
one of the maps, the Gulf of Oman, I think it is. When you
Yes.
go to the TV station, you know
Yes.
you're going up the stairs to go to the roof,
Yep.
Yeah.
and you hear that music, the room with the music.
Okay.
That music is the Battlefield 2 loading music. That's the menu.
Oh.
I've heard
That's the
for
kind of
first.
effort they put into their games.
Exactly. Oh man, we should totally change gears and do a podcast on Battlefield now.
We'll get to the next
Yeah.
one. This thing's already running really long as it is.
Yeah, I think actually
I don't
let's
know how
do
it did, to be
Yeah. Let's wrap it up though because fuck.
Hey, we've discussed it, and I'll say right off the bat, best thing about Modern Warfare 3, I think it's really innovative the way they tried to change up the kill streaks, and they added there's a lot of weapons in the game, and they tried to, do a lot. They tried to make the game better. I thought, like in a lot of ways, but I think the worst thing about it is, of course, the lag compensation and the map design. The maps are too small. It's all checkers and no chess, and that's just not my kind of game. I mean, I'm a really hyperactive person, so you'd think that sort of thing would appeal to me, but not at all. It really does. And so those are the things I think that are best and worst about it. And I traded my game in. You could not get me to get that game back. You could not give me a free copy unless I would just take it and trade it in for another $35.
All right, I'm taking the next one because I thought you were gonna see what I wanted to say. But best thing about this game, I'm not fucking playing it anymore. Like, as bad as that sounds, that is the greatest thing about this. Me being a dick, but
I would like to change my response.
What he said.
Honestly, that is the best thing I can say about this game. I'm not playing it anymore. Aside from that, I don't know what to say that's good about this game. There was nothing that really stood out to me that was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it.
So, right, there's not a single thing I can pick out about it. The bad, the laundry list is long, but just to, like, without going into detail, the gun sounds sound like absolute dick. The overall ambient sounds, again, sound like dick. Like, just the overall audio quality of this game was terrible.
They're like, hey, how about you listen to some rain?
Right.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Here,
Some
stick
of
your
the
dick
guns-
up to the microphone and just let it hang there.
It's like, I don't even know what happened to these gun sounds. It's like, some of the guns, it's like, okay, we need to come up with a unique gun sound for the Scar.
Is that a
What
cap
could-
gun?
Chinka, chinka,
Right.
chinka.
What if we can like combine the sounds of a penny dropping on steel, me tapping my fingers on the desktop, and snapping your fingers? Yeah, that'll make a sweet gun sound. It's like,
Kick this
really,
cash
guys?
register.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna go out and fucking record the sound of the gun instead of like fucking and combine it all, and there you got your sound. That's
Literally is what the sound is somebody's like, here, shake this bottle of rocks.
so
It's like, Veggie, come over here quick. Make gun noises. He's like, pew, 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 pew. All right, record that. Put that in the game. All right, that's our machine gun.
Yeah, that wasn't a cell phone. That was machine gun fire.
outside
Yeah,
of lag compensation, it's the game breaking issue. It is the ugly elephant in the room for Modern Warfare 3 as to what the one man army Danger Close was for Modern Warfare 2. It is a complete game breaking issue, and that's why I walked away. Like, why? I pay a lot of fucking money per month for my internet connection. I'm not gonna lie. I have a lot of money to spend, and I'm gonna put it in things I find like I
Whoa.
have
YouTube money.
We got a big shot over here, guys.
I want a good internet connection. When I come in home and I'm doing anything online, I want that shit to be instantaneous.
You're like, when I get home, I want to see that my porn is 100% downloaded.
Fucking right. So why should I get penalized on this? Like,
This is America, damn. This is capitalism.
This is America.
America.
Fuck that noise.
Fuck
Okay.
yeah.
Instead, I spent $5 a month on some fucking shitty connection that's basically dial up, and I'm gonna wreck everyone. You could be spending $150 a month on internet connection, but you're gonna get penalized for it. That's bullshit. That is just wrong on so many levels.
I will say real quick about lag compensation. I had games where lag compensation did not affect me. Like when I got really good scores, I still didn't enjoy the game. So for what it's worth.
All right, Tony, it's your turn. I won't make you go last this time.
Okay. I really wanted to like this game. I defended this game so fiercely when people, especially after I came back from COD XP, I'm like, it's not Modern Warfare 2.5. However, when I played Modern Warfare 3 at COD XP, I was noticing things that just didn't. Even in then, I was just like, God, there's something different and wrong with this game. But maybe it's because it's not out yet. You know, it's sort of a demo.
It's Modern Warfare 2.7.
It's like 7. So I
.2.
really, really wanted to like the game. I really tried to give it its chance, and it fell on its face. Lag compensation is the biggest problem with the game. If they could do something about that, maybe the game will be better. I don't know. Everyone keeps saying that the maps are too small. The spawns are fucked up. That's actually pretty obvious too, and maybe that has to do with the map size as well. But there are fundamental problems with the game, and I think it stems back from what we were talking about earlier with the fact that Infinity Ward was gutted. I think they just sort of took everything from Modern Warfare 2 and was just like, let's make a game from this. And they just sort of put it together and they shipped it. I know it's not that simple, but what do I like about it? I really don't want to be the guy to say that it's not in my house anymore, but that's kind of like that's kind of really the only thing I can say about it, because I was going to struggle through this whole Road to Commander thing, but
Oh.
I couldn't. I honestly, after like 3 hours, I was done. I was like, no, over, bye. I'm sorry. So the best thing about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is the fact that I've got the little notebook and stuff that came in the hard edition. That's actually really cool. They put a lot of effort in that stuff they gave us. That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not as good as what came with Halo Reach, but
I
I digress.
no. Now it's all you,
I,
Chris.
I was actually thinking about making a video when I first unboxed the hardened edition, because it just screamed similarities to the Halo Reach limited edition.
Uh-huh.
Because the limited edition of the Halo Reach came with a journal, it came with patches, and it came with, other stuff like regular game stuff. And that's exactly what Modern Warfare 3 came with. It's a little journal, some like aviators patches, and the game.
Uh-huh.
Um, Halo executed better. My favorite thing about Modern Warfare 3 was the time leading up to it, the hype engine, the hype monster that was going. It was getting me excited again. It was sucking me back in. I was looking forward to maybe there being a really good game. Clearly didn't happen. The worst thing about Modern Warfare 3 is it's finally exposed. It's put the Activision. It's put the nail in the coffin. Robert Bowling recently tweeted confirming that the hardcore Call of Duty crowd is not their target demographic,
Yep.
and they do not make game decisions based with that demographic in mind. Which, why would I want to play that then? Like, if I want to play a game that's I would rather find a game that's targeted for a demographic, and I would like to fit myself into that demographic, than take a game that was once for my demographic and try and deal with the changes they're making to shift. Um, so that being said, I don't like Modern Warfare 3. Plus, it's just not good. Like they're not executing things well.
No,
Like
that
like the holographic sight has never been useful.
nope.
Like, just as an example, a quick example, like off the cuff, like why would you use that instead of a red dot sight?
FMG9 akimbo.
Yeah. They're like, oh, hey, check this out.
It's the 1887s all over again.
Oh,
Yeah.
it really was. Well, to wrap this up, then, what I'd like to do just for Modern Warfare 3, give it an overall grade. For myself, an incomplete, which I'm probably surprised you guys right there.
Oh, God, yeah.
It
So
it was a game that was made in 2 years. It felt like it needed 3. It needed probably another 6 months. Well, we'll say like 3 or 4 months of development time, and then 6 months of open beta testing. Like
6 months.
it felt like it needed that, or maybe only a month, and then like an additional
Yeah.
5 months of them working on the coding. But it just feels so incomplete. Like it feels like a whole new game. It feels like the start of something all over again. And everyone just kind of got together in a huge conference room and they said, all right, listen, this is the plan. First person shooter. What do you guys have for ideas? And for half an hour, everyone just fucking vomited out ideas for this game. And someone quickly wrote down a bunch of things they heard through that whole maelstrom of ideas that were thrown out. And they came up with this haphazard list. They said, boom, there's your game. Make it out of that. That's what this game feels like.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't execute. Another example of how they didn't execute was the kill streaks are not very exciting in Modern Warfare 3. I don't think there's anything that really stands out. Like, oh, you can get 5 helicopters that make a strafing run?
Oh
Like, that's
yeah.
kind of weird. It's like a lawnmower team that comes and zaps anyone below them. But it's severely flawed because if you target the middle one and that one goes down, it like domino effect. Blue Angel crashes like all the other helicopters.
Yep.
So, all right, but without getting back into gritty details, Veggie, you want to give it a grade?
Well, my grade, as concisely as I can put it, is contingent on my idea that I don't think that this game was affected by the fact that Infinity Ward got broken up and those guys and everything. I think this game was made the exact way it was intended to be made by the developers and by Activision and all that. I don't think that any of this was a mistake. I don't think any of this was by happenstance. I think they actually wanted to make this game to where only a casual player would enjoy it, and that if you were a more hardcore type of player, like you're 90% likely going to start disliking this game. And I think
But
that's
you,
the reason of the map design is like that. It's so small and the spawns are like that. I think that's the reason people die so fast. I think that's the reason they did lag compensation. I think that's the reason they threw in support kill streaks. I
yeah,
I give them in terms of trying to do new things. That's great. If I was grading that alone, I'd say yeah, A, because you tried to change a whole lot of things in Call of Duty. But in terms of what the product came out to be, especially in terms of my enjoyment, I can't go any better than like a D plus. That's best case scenario, and I'm more inclined to give it a D minus or an F. I mean, it's that far down to me. I
yep.
honestly think the worst Call of Duty to date.
Well, and just one more proponent to your idea that they're doing it on purpose. They know that Call of Duty fans are whiners, and we don't go down quietly.
Mm.
So,
And we'll
what could be better for them than a shit ton of nerds getting on the internet and yakking it up?
and
Like,
and
who cares if they're complaining?
and look, after they sell their 15 million copies and make their money, and I respect that. They free market, free enterprise, they got to make their money. That's their business. But that is their business, and I think that that was the intention of this whole thing, and I don't think they care if it becomes another Tony Hawk or Guitar Hero because Activision, despite ruining those two franchises, that didn't hurt them. That helped them.
Yeah, you want to know how much money they probably made off those?
Billions,
Yeah, like
billions, and billions.
they at the end, like in hell, even the end of we're seeing the same thing because the reason Guitar Hero failed was because it just sort of became the same repetitive shit over and over again.
Yep.
A lot of copy paste work going on, and I bet those games that ended up failing the genre ended up costing them very little to make, relatively speaking, based to the first of the series. It was probably much more expensive.
Well, and I'm pretty sure that Tony Hawk, Guitar Hero, and of course Call of Duty, I think all three of them were billion-dollar game titles. So,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever formula they're using from a business perspective is ideal. It's perfect. From a perspective of like preserving something or making some sort of rich traditioned game, no, but that's not what they're aiming for. So I think it's all intentional, and because of that, I say really like D minus F, something like that, because they they're like intentionally making a game that's not going to last.
Yeah.
Well,
All right,
I
Tony.
think that's a conversation we should have later on, not like after this is over, but again in a roundtable about these different genres because if you they're really the same thing. They're the same game rehashed in a different environment, you know. So I think everything's in a running its course. There will be a game, a shooter to follow up and take over for Call of Duty eventually. I don't. It might happen sooner than we think now, but as far as a grade for Call of Duty, I'll give them an A for effort because I think they did put in significant effort to market and present a good game. But
Yeah,
that,
For
these
their
guys didn't go
target
to.
audience.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, but I mean, the people who came to COD Elite were definitely apparently presented to as their target audience. They were, but then again, obviously, from what we've been reading and the way the things been playing out, I don't think that's the truth anymore. Um, but anyways, the thing is, I would say I want to give them a higher than a D, but they really don't deserve any higher than like a D minus. I'm like inclined to say F plus. If there's such a thing. It's just for me, the game is an utter failure. It's proof of that is I don't own it anymore. If I don't own it, then that means that there's a problem. I like to
Yeah.
keep the games that I have so I can go back and play them. But I don't own any Call of Duty title anymore. Well, mine is Call of Duty 2 for my Xbox. I take that back. I've got one, and that's it. So
Well,
that's my
real
grade.
quick, did that guy from EA who said sometime before the games came out that Battlefield 3 did not have to outsell Call of Duty? He said, we're just going to sell so many copies that we're going to chip away at this until Call of Duty's irrelevant, basically.
Well, I heard something to
He's
the
spot
effect of
on.
the guy. The
Like,
guy was saying that they know they're not going to outsell Call of Duty, but the goal was to
chip
put out
away.
a better product.
Yeah.
Not necessarily try to steal the sales. I mean, I don't know if you guys are on the whole, like the Facebook Battlefield, their fan page or whatever, but they're very
No.
interactive. They like post videos and they respond to you because I had put up a suggestion on their page on Facebook like, hey, why don't you guys have a jet on jet 12v12? And the whoever runs it was like, hey, why don't you go to the battle log, put that in the forums under the suggestions. That's a good idea. And I'm like, holy shit, they responded. It was
It's
it was
glorious.
within like, I don't know, several hours. So
Yeah, I follow him on Twitter and I see him retweeting videos and different things like that all the time.
so
Did you give him a
anyways,
grade, Sean?
yeah, what's their grade? Well, no, he gave it
Yeah,
incomplete.
I
you gave
give
him an incomplete.
incomplete.
Oh, yeah. Incomplete. See,
I'll round
it was
out
incomplete.
the round table here with my grade, and they're gonna get an F from me just
Very
because
firm.
it's. I mean, what are we talking about here? It's not like we kind of enjoy it, but we'd like to see better or anything like that. Like I don't enjoy the game. I don't have fun with it. I feel their motives are wrong. In the sense of the gaming industry, I understand that they're a business, and I respect that they need to do that. And the reason I'm giving it an F instead of like a D minus D plus like you guys is because this is the straw that broke the camel's back, if you want to get metaphorical. Because the only way to stop this, like them from breaking their own record year after year with sales, is to stop buying the game. And that's exactly what they've finally pushed me to do. And I won't be buying the game at release. I might be a Christmas noob if the game somehow is fantastic.
Gamefly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
rental.
yeah. So,
I do have high hopes for the next Treyarch version.
well, and that's the only thing that's like giving me like a slimmer, like a shimmer of hope is that it's Treyarch. They did well. David Vonderhaar has tweeted a lot of things. He's given a lot of insight into the process, and I know it's not easy, but it all depends on how much they want to do it and how much they don't. So
I have to
I
say, this
I
is
just
like
love the emotional release we've had. It's a little cathartic here.
I feel like at the end of this, like I need to say something along the lines of, "This has been Call of Duty: The Fellowship of the Ring."
I know.
It's 2 hours and
I
14
know. I'm looking at the
minutes.
comment. There's going to be a comment going, you guys bitched about Call of Duty for fucking 2 hours straight. And be
I
like,
think we
yeah,
were pretty positive, though. I mean, about we had the positives and negatives of kind of every game,
yeah.
and where it kind of went, and then we got into the last 20 minutes, probably or so, 25 minutes talking about Modern Warfare 3, and you know,
Well, the
what can you
interesting thing
say?
is though, is this last 20, 30 minutes, I at least know in my own head has been hurried because I knew we were running long about a half an hour ago.
Yeah.
And I've kept my thoughts relatively short, and I've cut a few things off my list of topics. But
Yeah, I tried to when I initially thought we could all list the negatives and positives of each game. I thought that would be a lot more succinct. But then
yeah,
I
I mean,
forgot
apparently
Modern Warfare
that's
2
what
has
happens.
negatives.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you get four opinionated people talking about things that they're passionate
Yeah.
about. So
Yeah, but it was
So
good discussion. I'm glad we had this.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree too.
Tune in next week for our
Call of Duty.
more
The history of Call of Duty, the Two Towers.
maybe we could get together more semi-regular and talk about different things, not necessarily focus on one topic like this. Maybe talk about state of the game of Battlefield, what we're looking forward to. It's a new year. A lot of new games are supposed to be coming out and stuff like that. So maybe we can
Mass
hit up some
Effect
good.
3.
Yeah, I noticed you've been grinding that.
Oh
that
yes.
Mass Effect action.
Uh-huh. I gotta get back into it.
I'm hesitant. I don't have the time to put. I know Mass Effect 3 would be most enjoyed after playing the first two,
Yeah.
but I don't have the time to. What is it, like a 60-hour game?
No,
each
no,
of
no,
them?
Wait. Save it. I ruined your line right there. we're like 2 hours long at this point.
Yeah, we're
I
gonna.
know
That
we're
could be
getting into
really good for the
math.
next
You know what?
podcast or the
You know
roundtable.
what?
So
I almost think that we should redo this and just make
All
it
right.
like a condensed 45-minute version.
Well, you know what we
It's not
could do is just break it up. Just break it up into like 20, 30-minute segments.
We'll see.
COD
All right,
4,
guys.
World at War, and then the
Yeah.
rest.
Thanks for listening. I guess you'll find out how we decided to divide this up when you get to this point in the podcast.
Happy
make this
birthday
well-
to everybody that got older during this podcast.
Yeah.
we take a solid 2 hour video and one of you guys muscle throughs it, you get a cookie.
Yeah. Yeah, we should put a secret code right now that if they say it, then they get a shout out.
They can play with us and
Secret
repair my
code.
tank.
The secret code is Peregrine Took. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, listening. We'll catch you next time.
Later.
Later.
Peace.